God damn this fucking place. How can anybody live in this shit city? I'm not doing it. I'm not driving my car around this goddamn sewer every fucking time. Who are these assholes? Some bug-eyed, fat-lipped, half-nigger, all right, some of my best friends, thinks he owns this fucking space. The city's got this space specially reserved for his private use. 25 fucking minutes I'm driving around this garbage street. I pull up this space, I look back, this baby shit green Trans Am's on my ass going, beep, beep. I get out, the fucker says, hey, that's my space. I show him the fucking tire iron. I told this fucker, you want this space? You're gonna wake up tomorrow and find you slipped in your fucking car. This ain't your space, your space. Am I right? That shit. There's no talking to shit like that. He lived in this joint? I mean, no personal disparagement of the neighborhood in which you have your domicile, honey, but this street's dying of crotch rot. The only thing saved this point is CA burn it down. You call that street out there, you can lose a Toyota in some of those potholes. You know, the people run your fucking city's got no respect for the property and the people living in it. This is why people act the way they do. This shit. You know, this has made me, you know, whatever, not as I usually am. But I'm trying to parallel park in the only fucking street in a 20-block radius. You don't crawl up my butthole in your shit cream Trans Am. You know?
Very nice work, lovely energy. It's a great speech. What do you think? And I'm just asking you this this isn't a rhetorical question. What do you think is the toughest part of dealing with this kind of modern dialogue?
This particular speech, or just that kind of modern dialogue?
Yeah. Well, let's be specific. This particular speech. What's the hardest thing to deal with? The toughest thing to resolve?
For me, the toughest thing to resolve is the grief of the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the reason for his rage.
Yeah.
It's the reason for his inarticulacy that can only be, or rather, it's the grief that can only be articulated through rage, through violence, a certain kind of verbal violence. But the writer has given you a really interesting little roadmap, which, if we can look at it, attack it more specifically, you'll find there are places where we can avoid the generalization. When there's a point halfway through the speech, he says something like, is it here where it happened, or this is here? Is this where it was, or is this where he was?
This is where he lived.
This is where he lived.
Yeah.
Talking about his brother.
Yeah.
How different is that from the first half of the speech?
Almost opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think your obligation as an actor is to find that opposite. It's there for a reason. The reason is there is because in the midst of this rage, in the midst of this excoriating of Toyota drivers and bad parkers and all those arseholes out there who are making your day miserable, those stupid fuckers out there, suddenly in the middle of all that, there's this moment of incredible tenderness. And he latches onto a really tiny, and I think I would argue, again, what do I know? Tiny but deeply painful detail. He's in the apartment where his brother lived. His brother who moved 1,000,000 miles away from where you are now. Am I right?
Yeah.
He lived a whole other life, didn't he? And he lived a life that there were no roots for that life in the existence you had as children. Yeah. Correct?
Yeah.
So suddenly you're surrounded by not only the circumstances of a brother who moved 1,000,000 miles away, but you're in a world that you don't even quite really know. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So what's happening is this man who's full of this rage, this inability, this pain. It's not rage, really, it's pain.
Yeah.
He finds it in small increments. And the writer gives you a great moment. I mean, that's a great moment. This is where he lived. And then suddenly, back out there again. The fucking potholes. You could lose a Toyota out there. You see how it moved, the shift. It's the tragedy. It's the tragedy of the inarticulate soul. It's actually the tragedy of, and I'm quoting someone else, I can't remember who it is, but it's the tragedy of the life unlived. And so this brother of his, what did he do?
Dancer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
1,000,000 miles away. Coping with something he doesn't quite understand. Yeah? So I think we need, rather than, I mean, what you did was lovely. I mean, the energy, you've got this fantastic, explosive, visceral language. I mean, I bless the day that playwrights, I mean, and I mean this quite sincerely, I'm not being facetious, but I bless the day when playwrights started using the word fuck.
Can I give you another high five?
But I'll tell you why. Not because of the kind of, sort of acerbic or kind of acid ability that word has to, cursing on stage, anyone can do it.
Yeah.
But good writing, this play, Mammon, good writing turns that violence, turns those razor blades, those verbal slashes, into something that reveals something much, much deeper. And every time I would argue, every time he explodes with a kind of violent tirade on whatever it is, it's another example of his fear, of his impotence, of his pain. And when he lets out those little moments of truth, like is this where he lived? Suddenly, it's like it's beautiful. And I think you were almost there. And I think what happened is, and this is just a technical thing. The first chunk of that speech, Bill, what's the very last little couple of phrases before that stopped?
It's that shit. There's no talking to shit like that.
Right. And you see, that's a kind of, to my ear, that's a kind of climax he reaches. Yeah? This is wrong, that's wrong, these people are arseholes, blah, 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 this, that's why this is happening, because of that, and that. Oh, is this what it was? Oh. But you've got to earn it. You can't slowly slide your way into that gear change. There's a reason why it's so abrupt, and it's called dramatic effect. Because what happens is we're in the audience, listening to him. He's killing us, because he's talking about us. Yeah? Mm-hmm. We're the guy who's going, excuse me, my Spain, it's all of us. Yeah? We're the ones that he's shaking a tire iron in the face of. And suddenly this boy, the boy emerges. Where's my brother? I miss my brother. I want my brother. See what I'm saying? Mm. That's what he's reaching for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, why bring it up? Why even mention his brother?
That's why he's here.
Exactly. So all this bravado, all this screaming and ranting and raving, it's a kind of tragedy. Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to have a little go again?
I do.
See where it goes?
Yes, sir.
But jump in, don't think about it.
God damn this fucking place!
Say it again.
God damn this fucking place! How can anybody live in this shit city? I'm not doing it.
Right, stop. Let's do it. Sit on your hands.
Yeah, right.
Whistle.
That's
All your energy's going. You know what's happening? All your energy's doing that.
I do.
I want it to go. It's got to come. Yeah.
Okay.
Start again.
Yes, sir. God damn this fucking place. How can anybody live in this shit city? I'm not doing it. I'm not driving my car around this goddamn sewer every fucking time. Who are these assholes? Some bug-eyed, fat-lipped half-lipped.
That's not a rhetorical question. Ask that question.
Who are these assholes? Some bug-eyed, fat-lipped half-nigger. All right, some of my best friends. Thinks he owns his fucking space. The city's got this space specially reserved for his private use. 25 fucking...
Now, when you say some of them are my best friends, is that in bracket? Is that in parentheses?
In the script?
Yeah.
No.
So why are you suddenly going...
I was trying to separate the thought.
It's all the same thought. These half-assed No. As soon as you say... He's aware that he said something that might be a little bit over the top. So, you know, in real life, when you say something that you think someone might take offence, you put more energy into the apology, don't you?
Okay.
So I'm walking down the street. I'm walking down the street, and this great big gay flaming queen comes. No, I work in the theatre. I know a lot about it. You put more energy into kind of apologising for that. Try it again.
Okay. God damn this fucking place. How can anybody live in this shit city? I'm not doing it. I'm not driving my car around this goddamn sewer every fucking time. Who are these assholes? Some bug-eyed, fat-lipped half-nigger. All right, some of my best friends. Thinks he owns his fucking space. The city's got this space specially reserved for his private use. 25 fucking minutes I'm driving around this garbage street. I pull up this space. I look back. This baby shit green Trans Am's on my ass going, beep, beep. I get out. The fucker says, hey, that's my space. I pull out the fucking tire and I told the fucker, hey, you want this space? You're gonna wake up tomorrow and find you slept in your fucking car. This ain't your fucking space. Your space. Am I right? Am I right? That shit. There's no talking to shit like that. He lived in his place. Yeah. The people run your fucking cities down those steps.
That had an effect on you, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
So you know, we're no longer specific now. We're no longer general now. It's specific now.
Yeah.
You see what it did to you?
Yeah.
Now, this is just exercise. I'm not suggesting for a moment that you would necessarily play the role this way. You would rehearse it and finesse it and find all kinds of flavours and colours and gradations, all kinds of subtleties and nuances. It would be a million times better than this. But what I'm trying to encourage you to understand is that this is doing. These characters live. They're not just reflections of our ego. They're not just the part of us that we want to show off to an audience. These people live in their own right. And we have to serve them. And the only way we can do that is by being absolutely clear about where they are and what they're doing, what they're feeling. Now, it's interesting what happened to you in that. All that rage suddenly it was very affecting. And that's not because, that's nothing to do with me. It's not some, not some, Fred Molina, great, gave me this great thing. No, it's you, it's in you. Like I said to I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Josephine.
Like I said to Josephine, for the moment in time that she's Julia, that space in time, for this moment in time, you are him and he is you. And you found it. Very nice. Good.
Thank you.